This is your Senior Moment, brought to you by Senior Guide USA, with your host, Lee St. John.
Hi, this is Lee St. John, and welcome to your Senior Moment. I have a wonderful guest with us today who's going to talk about downsizing with dignity. Now, a lot of people need to go from larger accommodations into smaller accommodations as we age and as our life circumstances change. And I have our guest here, Janet Hanchuck, with me, who is an expert in all of this with regard to downsizing with dignity. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Lee. I'm happy to be here.
Now, Janet, tell me, first of all, so this is your business. This is what you do. How did you get involved in this industry in the first place?
Well, actually, it was about 6.5 years ago. I was a manager of personnel security and working very, very long hours, and my mother passed away, and my sister and I went away for the weekend. And I said to her, I was just dreading going back to work. And she said, why? And I said, because that's all I do. I just work until 8 or 9 at night, go home, eat dinner, go to bed, get up and do it all again.
Yeah.
And that's like, I feel like I just don't make a difference to anybody's life. I mean, while it's important, we process clearances, it was the same old type of work. And I just felt like I was just so burnt out, I didn't want to do it anymore. And she said, well, what do you like to do? And I said, oh, well, I like organizing homes and I like decorating homes. And she said, well, why don't you just do it? I said, oh, I can't.
Yes.
I can't, I just got a $10,000 sign-on bonus. I've got the insurance, and we got 2 kids in college. And I think I was just thinking that, one day my husband was just going to say to me, oh, hon, you're working too hard. You need to quit that job. And suddenly I just thought about it, and I said, he's never going to say that.
I didn't see that conversation coming in your future, Janet, no.
So I finally realized that, life is too short and you should do what you really enjoy doing.
Amen.
And I just came home one day and I said to him, you know what? I'm going to start my own business. And he's like, what? You can't quit your job. We need your insurance. And I said, you can get insurance. I said, I don't feel like I make a difference to anybody. And when I quit, I said to my boss, I gave my notice. He's like, no, you can't quit. And I said, you see how you feel? I feel like that every day. So I think it was just meant to be that I wish I had done it 20 years ago, because I really feel passionate about it. And I think if you enjoy what you do, it really comes through with the people, with your work. And I think that's what makes it successful, is enjoying what you do.
And I think more kudos to you as well for being brave enough to take that step, because I think that's a lesson that everybody could learn, no matter what your age. If you're unhappy, if you're stuck in a situation, you're only stuck there because you're choosing not to do anything different.
Well, I think sometimes people get locked into what they're doing and they feel trapped. They feel like, okay, I've got a family to support. I can't just quit and do what I want to do. They feel the weight of responsibility. So I do appreciate that my husband understood how I was feeling, and fortunately, I had the financial support of him,
yes,
so that I was able to do that. And I started. Actually, I stayed with that company and just worked a couple of days a week, 2 days a week, while I was building my business for the first year. And that really helped a lot. And then I think it helped my husband feel, a little more secure that at least some money was coming in while I was out networking.
Yes, absolutely. But I think what you said there as well about feeling locked in and trapped, leading us back to downsizing with dignity, a lot of seniors feel as though they can't leave their house because they can't move into a smaller place. It's been the family home forever, or, where will my kids come back back to. So how have
Right.
you heard, what are some of the stories that you've heard from seniors along those sorts of lines, and how can your service just help ease that concern?
Well, I guess the biggest issue to me is a lot of times I see situations where it's out of their control. Perhaps it's a couple, and maybe the husband or the wife that may have health issues, and so they don't really have any choice. They have to move. And in those situations, I think it's very, very difficult. And I think the transition is much more difficult because you don't have the buy-in of both people.
Yes.
It makes a big difference. It's like, dating. When you're the person breaking up versus the person who is breaking up with you.
Yes.
It's much easier to take it when you're the one, that's doing the breaking up.
Yes.
But when things are out of your control and you don't really have a choice, it makes it that much more difficult. And I think the number one reason why seniors are downsizing, for me, the people that I run into, one of the biggest reasons is health issues. And, it may be that they just need assistance and they what's like their daily living, whether it's, memory issues, or I've had a couple that have, different diseases, whether it's cancer or Parkinson's disease. I mean, these things are life-changing, and it becomes really tough for the caregiver, the person that is with them. It puts a lot of responsibility on that caregiver.
Yes.
And, it seems like people take so much on themselves, and you don't want to wait until they get to a breaking point where I just can't do this anymore. You want them to make a decision when they're healthy, when they're able to do it, and they're able to say, okay, I want to move, I'm ready. No, I was going to say sometimes, it becomes not just like the medications, but, hygiene. And if it's the husband that has needs help with bathing or dressing, and the wife is providing that support, it becomes really physically demanding on that other person. And they're trying to be there and to do everything and be the end all for that person. And I think sometimes they just need to stop and say, they're going to physically hurt themselves, and that there's help out there, that there's a lot of different resources out there that can give them help.
Yes. And so, Janet, what are some of the reasons that people move in the first place?
Well, besides the number one health issue, which we discussed earlier, I also found that the physical layout of the home is a big issue. A lot of people, they don't want to have all the steps anymore. They want a house that's all on one floor, and maybe it's because they are choosing not to have the steps, or physically they just can't handle them anymore. Or maybe the house is too big. The children are grown, and they no longer need a big house.
Got it.
And everything that goes with it, all the maintenance inside, all the repairs, cleaning, those costly renovations, and also the outside. All those beautiful gardens and flowers. Well, along with that comes all the trimming and the weeds, and they've been there, done that.
Yes.
And so now they're ready to move on and have fun instead of all the work. And another reason is companionship. Maybe they suffered the loss of a spouse or a loved one, and they're looking for more of a community-type lifestyle. They want to be surrounded with people and activities where they can have their meals prepared, or maybe just have someone to talk to on a regular basis. Sometimes they end up moving back to their hometown so they can be closer to family. I don't know if that's always a good idea because you can't follow your kids.
Yes.
I've seen it where, people have lived in their house for 40 years and then they move to be closer to someone, and in their mind they expect to be seeing them all the time, and when that doesn't happen, it's really tough, and they start looking at the things they've given up.
Yes.
And I think you have to make your decisions based on you and what you want to do, not based on other people.
True.
And sometimes they can't drive, so transportation is a big issue. And, if you go to like a retirement community, they have transportation provided. So, they're able to do more things and go more places.
For organizations such as yours, professional organizers, how do you assist in a situation where the senior person or senior couple are moving from, let's say, their family home, they've been there for 50 years, 4-bedroom place, and they're now moving into a 1-bedroom apartment?
Okay, well, first of all, we talk to the seniors themselves. Oftentimes, it's the children of the seniors that contact us, and they're worried about their parents, and they're juggling so many different things at one time. They have their own house, and they're running their kids to all different kinds of activities, and they have work to do, plus they're maintaining their own house. Well, they are calling us because they just can't do it all. They need help. And they don't have time that they can dedicate. It's not like the old days where, the person was home all day and they could just run over and spend the day and kind of help mom go through things. So what we do is we come in and go through all of the household contents. And, the longer the person has lived in that house, I deal with a lot of seniors, and they've been in there 40 or 50 years.
Yes.
And the longer you're there, the more stuff you accumulate, just simply because you have the room. So going through all of that stuff is a big ordeal. It would be like, consider cleaning out your garage or cleaning out your closet. And we go room to room with those people, and we pull out the stuff, and we, say, are you going to keep this? Are you going to donate? Or are you going to take it with you? And so it's like keep, save, purge, or donate.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a recycling, and we go through room by room. And I think the biggest difference to me is I work with a lot of subcontractors, and I'm a subcontractor on a lot of jobs, and I see how different organizers can do things differently. And we're all members of NAPO, which is the National Association of Professional Organizers.
Right.
And they have a very strict code of ethics. And you're actually their advocate. You are the senior's advocate. You're there helping them. And I have one client, and she had breast cancer, and she couldn't do long periods of time. We had to shorten it. There's always exceptions to the rule. And so I worked with her on a regular basis, and she said to me one day, she goes, I feel like I'm bossing you around. And I started laughing. And I said, well, you are. I mean, it's your stuff, right?
Yes.
I said, what did you think was going to happen? And she goes, well, I see these shows on TV, and I just figured you were going to come in and tell me I had to get rid of everything.
Oh.
And I felt really bad. I said, you know what? We're here to help you. Whatever it is, she tires very, very easily. She's going through so much right now. And I said, we're just here to help you. We're not going to make you do anything. We're here to support you.
Yes.
And I think that kind of like took some of the load off of her. And even if we go through everything and she sees the bins, the number of bins that we have, and okay, now we measure these, are these going to fit in your new place? We may go through it one more time because she sees, but she is the decision maker. She sees, okay, you know what, this isn't going to fit. I'm going to have to get rid of more.
Yes.
Versus somebody coming in and saying, you don't need this, you don't need that. And sometimes children, they mean very well, but they have a habit of telling their parents rather than asking them. you don't need this. I mean, I look at it like, if that's my stuff, I don't want somebody telling me you don't need that. I mean, we always have 2 Christmas trees, and my daughter's like, you don't need that, Mom. And I was like, really? I said, well, guess what? When you have your house, you can have 1 tree. This is my house, and I want 2.
I love it.
You have to respect people and their wishes. I mean,
Yes.
That's the dignity of it is, it is their stuff.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we don't respect, the stuff that people have and how much it means to them. I mean, I had this one lady who was 90 years old, and she had this desk, and she was so tickled. At the beginning of the sessions, she had told me that her granddaughter was going to be taking it. So, we went through several different sessions, and then I was like, well, when is she going to come and get that? And she said, she doesn't have very much room in her dorm, and I don't think she's going to take it. But she looked so sad. It just broke my heart. So when I got home, I said to I emailed the daughter, and I said, look, I said, I don't know if you realize it. I said, but that desk means an awful lot to her. And I said, it was the very first piece of furniture that she and her husband bought together.
Oh.
And I said, even if she doesn't want it, I said, do you think you could find a place for it? And she said, oh, by all means. She said, I had no idea,
Yes.
So I came back the next time, and I said to her, we're going along, and she goes, guess what? She wants the desk.
Oh.
And they found a place, and I said, oh, you're kidding. That's wonderful. And, I mean, it made her day. And I wish people could see that, the things that may not have meaning to you, you may look at it and think, oh, I don't want that old thing. If you take it, it helps that senior let go of it because they feel like, it's still in the family or it means as much.
Yes.
To that
Yes.
person, it's being utilized. And so, it's easier to let it go.
Yes. And our subject is downsizing with dignity. And I think that from my experience in dealing with the seniors here is that a lot of them don't contact organizations such as yours because they think exactly that you're going to say, well, you need to get rid of that. You need to get rid of this. There's going to be no room for that. And that they don't have a say. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I started working as a subcontractor on other jobs, and I was doing a kitchen, and I was like, hey, I'm unpacking things and putting them away, and I went to get a bag of tea lights, and she tossed them in the trash, and I was like, hey, and she goes, there's no room for this. She doesn't need that. And I was like, that really bothered me because I thought, you don't know what that person wants. You can't make those decisions for them.
Yes.
She said, there's 3 ice cream scoops. And she said, just keep this one. The other 2 are old. Get rid of those. And I didn't. I waited until the lady came home. And when she came home, I said to her, you've got 3 of these. Do you need all 3? And she goes, oh, no, those 2 don't work. And she chose the older one.
Yes.
So I'm like, we all have our special things. And how do you presume stuff like that? I mean, you have to, work hand in hand with the person.
Yep.
I think the biggest part of our job is the sorting. We get everything all ready. We go through it quickly. It's because organizers don't have that emotional attachment. When we see pictures, we're sorting, okay, these are old photos, these are new, these are kids, these are family. And we are just flipping through, boom, 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 1, 2, 3. And so I'll say to the client, how about for the pictures if we just put all the pictures aside in one spot, just because we've got this big pile right here that we really need to get through today.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, we won't be rushing you. You can just, on a Sunday, a rainy Sunday, go through the whole box and look through and decide what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of.
Yes.
Because that's how they end up getting derailed, is because all these emotional things can really, kind of just keep you from reaching your goal or your objective that day to get through the process.
Yes. So, Janet, if there's somebody listening to this, whether it's the children of a senior or the seniors themselves, you mentioned a national organization that people can turn to find a local professional organizer.
Correct. Yes, it's called NAPO, NAPO.net, and when you log on to that, there's a spot over there that says find an organizer, and you can put your information in and find local people in your area for the National Association of Professional Organizers.
Terrific. And you're located where?
We're actually in Leesburg, Virginia, but I have a large team, and we are all over now. I mean, we service Maryland, West Virginia, Southern Virginia. So I have a team that is pretty spread out.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's really grown. I've got a great team of ladies, and they get along so well with the people. I think that's really important, that they feel comfortable and, able to talk to each other about, everything.
Absolutely. All right, Janet, so to wrap up, give us your top 5 tips to help people downsize with dignity.
Okay, I would say number 1, be ready. You want to get the buy-in of the people that are moving in. Several occasions, I work with people that really just don't want to move. Their children insisted that they move, mainly because they're worried about their parents' well-being. But when you've lived in your house for like 40 years, you raised your kids there, you're going to move to a strange surroundings, they just, they just don't want to do that. So you have to make sure that, you have the buy-in before they move. Number 2, do your research.
Good.
There's so much homework involved. You got to find the right place. And nowadays they have all these companies available that have done the legwork for you. They're familiar with all the different types of facilities, whether it's independent living, assisted living, or memory care. And they know all about the payment options, who covers Medicare, Medicaid, all the different types of insurance, long-term care. I mean, that becomes very, very involved, and it can be overwhelming. So, you really need to utilize some of the resources out there that can help you with that.
Terrific. Number 3?
Number 3 is be optimistic and try to put a positive spin on the move. Consider it like you've been cooking all these dinners your whole life. Now it's time for somebody to wait on you. You deserve it. And make a list of all the benefits.
Yes.
No more yard work. No more running up and down the steps. Now you can do those things you really enjoy. Get together with friends and play cards. You can go work out at the fitness center or go to these shows or restaurants and all these activities for planned outings.
Nice.
I had one client, and she said she was ready for the move, that she lived in her house for 50 years, and she had enjoyed all her stuff, but now she was just looking forward to the next chapter in her life.
Mm-hmm.
She was 90 years old.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, she was the most optimistic person I've ever met. I loved her. She still drove.
Yes.
I mean, albeit she no longer drove at night, but still she went to church. She met with her friends for lunch, for dinner. She was taking a Spanish class.
Good for her.
Yes, and I think that's part of the key.
Yes.
Is to keep your brain active. She's learning. She's growing. It helps her stay young. She always had a smile and a fabulous attitude.
That's wonderful. All right, number 4?
Number 4 is letting go. It's always difficult for people to let go of things that mean so much to them. I always encourage them to check with their family members and friends, and to be enthusiastic. Say, hey, how about this bookcase? You could use it to hold all your crap. And I think family members have to really realize how much it means to them.
Yes.
And to use some of those things that are really important to the seniors.
Yes. And number 5?
And number 5, get help. People are so busy juggling everything. My advice is to utilize those resources out there, whether it's, getting a companion for mom or dad, and to provide respite for like the caregiver. They need a break. They need to have some time to have to themselves when they spend all their time taking care of somebody else. They need a break. Or maybe it's hiring a professional organizer to help go through all the items for the household and decide what to keep or purge or donate. I guess the biggest thing I'm saying is that you're not in this alone. I mean, so many times I hear clients say, I never knew that there were people like you out there.
Yes.
So I guess that's why I'm here, to spread the word and let people know that, we're here to help.
Fantastic. So if people want to look up your business, what's your website? How can they find you?
Mine is it's www.loudon, LOUDOUN, H as in home, C as in consulting.com. loudonhc.com.
Fantastic. So if anybody's looking in the Virginia, Maryland area, please look Janet up. She'll take wonderfully good care of you, Janet and her team. And from anywhere else in the country, just go back to the organization that Janet mentioned, and that was napo.net.
Correct, NAPO.
napo.net, to be able to find a professional organizer near you. Janet, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, this is Lee St. John with your Senior Moment, brought to you by SeniorGuideUSA.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.